All right, my particular hobby horse right now is tax cuts first. That's what I want when the new legislators assemble soon. Joining us to talk about it, Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty. Steve Moore, host of More Money on ABC Radio, co-author of The Trump Economic Miracle. Thanks to both of you. Senator Hagerty, you're going to be in the thick of it in the Senate. I mean, I really think you've got to go right for the tax cuts. And I'll tell you why. But bluntly, the blue-collar working-class coalition, which Mr. Trump restored and broadened and got him elected, in no small way was about take-home pay. And after inflation, take-home pay fell during the Biden years, as you know very well. We had an affordability crisis. So that's why I know you're going to do border work. I understand that. But that's really more executive branch stuff. I'm saying legislatively, go for the tax cuts first, Senator Hagerty. What do you think?
Yeah, it's absolutely job one, Larry. And if we don't get this dealt with, we're looking at a $4 trillion tax increase on America. In fact, President Trump ran on bringing middle-class prosperity back. And it's our job to make certain that that happens. President Trump received a massive mandate, as you know. And this is one of the most critical aspects of that mandate. Look, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris delivered economic malaise to America. Here's a chance to actually step up and do what President Trump proved in the first administration when you served there, and I did, Larry. That's to bring back economic prosperity by lowering taxes. Look what happened to corporations. We lower the corporate tax rate, corporate tax revenues go up, inversions come to an end, the economy prospers. We've got to get back to that. We can.
And Steve Moore, you know, a lot of this stuff, the scoring here is going to be very interesting. Let's talk scoring. It's a little technical in the weeds. But we had Mike Crapo on the other night. It was last night, 2 nights ago. Senator Crapo is going to be head of the Senate Finance Committee. As far as the extension of the tax cuts is concerned, there's no need to score that. There's a current policy baseline. It's been used in the past. There's no need to worry about that stuff. Now, there'd be additional tax cuts. That's a different matter. I know there's 2.0. Mr. Trump is things like overtime pay and tips and so forth. I get that. But, Steve, the dynamic scoring, the growth model here is very, very important. But even CBO accounting is going to be very important.
Yeah, you better believe it. And by the way, what an honor it is to be on with Bill Hagerty, who could be the next Treasury Secretary of the United States or maybe ambassador to the world. I mean, he's such a superstar. Bill, great to be with you, Senator. We'd hate to lose you from the Senate, but you could also serve Trump in a great way. Okay, now in answer to your question, Larry, it's funny, I spoke at the Republican House caucus lunch a few days ago. I know you've done that in the past. And I said exactly what you've been saying. I say, get this thing done right away. Be secretariats right out of the gate. This should be the highest priority. I said, let's get this done in 100 days. Now, that might be ambitious because it has to go through the reconciliation process. But why not? I mean, we've got the other side's totally discombobulated. The Democrats don't know what they're doing. I think, actually, Larry, you might even get some Democratic votes for this Republican Trump tax cut, because as Bill Hagerty was just saying, it does benefit the middle class. And if you don't do it, Larry, you're talking about one of the biggest tax increases on the middle class ever. So the consequences of failing here are so large. And one other thing, Donald Trump has a mandate from the voters to do this.
Yes, exactly. I mean, Senator Hagerty, you know, here, ace pollster, John McLaughlin. He's been nagging me to death with emails, but I think he's right. He said, you want to do well in the election next time around, and the time after that, you've got to work on the middle-class tax cuts, the take-home pay part of it. We're not worried about the upper end. The upper end's going to do fine. They always do fine, whatever. Anyway, I welcome them, but a lot of them have turned to Democrats. The point is, you got to say right away, front and center, we want to help this new coalition and working-class coalition, and that's about the tax cuts. And it's also about getting energy costs down, which I think is mostly an executive branch issue, getting energy costs down. I understand the regulatory issue, but that's an executive branch issue. Not all of it, but most of it. The one that's going to hit the floor of the Senate and the House is going to be the tax cuts. And you got to, you know, listen, you remember in 2017, the first thing that was done, the first half of that year, the first year, they went after health care. And that was a big mistake. They got nowhere. They didn't get to the tax cuts until the second half of the year. I don't want to see that happen. I want to go right away, Mr. Hagerty, right away.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Larry. And again, this time President Trump is coming in with a deliberate mandate and a perspective on this. He's going to have everybody rowing in the same direction. And I feel very confident that we can do this. The economy needs it. And President Trump is tackling all aspects of this, too. I mean, I'm so appreciative of the effort that he's got underway right now with the Department of Government Efficiency. If you think about what that can bring, I mean, I've seen it. You know, I started my career at the Boston Consulting Group, cutting waste out of large corporations. I've seen it in government. I was the Commerce Secretary in Tennessee. I cut over 40% of the positions out of my department. You know what? Tennessee went from the bottom half of the economic scale to the very, very top. We're the envy of all states in the nation right now. This can be done, and we will see the government perform better, and the American public will appreciate it like never before. That will help with the tax package as well in terms of the offsets that we'll need.
30 seconds, Steve Moore. The stock market loves the possibility of lower taxes and much lighter regulations and cheaper energy. What do you think? Stocks are torrid. They're booming.
You better believe it. I mean, this is the market speaking. And by the way, we're seeing the same things. I don't know if you saw, there was a new manufacturing sentiment index. It went straight up, Larry, in the last 10 days.
Right.
I mean, everywhere I go, I've been on the road a lot. I mean, you just see, just walking down the street, you see people have kind of an extra hop in their step. There's so much optimism out there. But one thing you got to work on, Larry, is your old friend Larry Summers is out there saying Trump's plan is going to cause inflation. I don't get it. I mean, he's talking about the tariffs, but if you offset tariffs with lower taxes on American businesses that produce things here, I don't see that. That's not going to cause inflation. Reagan proved when he cut taxes, what happened to inflation? It went down.
Yes, well, good luck on Larry Summers. Anyway, Steve Moore, thank you very much. Senator Bill Hagerty, we appreciate it as always.